Well, I just thought I'd comment very briefly. I can confirm that my being unhappy about conventional wisdom continues. Johnson has talked about the implications of what a lot of people are doing online. I don't know anyone personally who's had any experience that would lead to the intent of showing such disregard for principle because of you know uh, those they've never met uh, in a situation where they are disadvantaged. Moreover, the safeguards for emails are much greater than safeguards for several alternatives. I know people are really glad to just continue with X.com and all the rest. And people have even intimated that my reluctance to get involved with TikTok is strange. Well, not really, because right now the stinker of note is X.com, but X.com is not that different from some other uh, platforms, except for the fact that it suffers from known poor leadership. Um, but for example, YouTube is like the others. They have a tiger by the tail in terms of what can happen to people. But they've done an excellent job with emails, and so have other people. Uh, Google and the other major systems have maintained the integrity of emails such that while there may be little interest or no interest in using systems that are not in vogue, the interesting thing is that that people are making a conscious decision since events, for example, since the meeting of Putin and Trump in Anchorage. Um, that led to some people across the board deciding that they would do differently in communications because of what some think is the right position to take on communications. Uh, my main interest has been that, school kids are having their phones confiscated, their tablets confiscated, instead of having people set up a firewall, a Wi-Fi firewall, to benefit students in a school, and not only that, but to have a similar situation for communications when they're not using the firewall. Those options are uh, missing. Good, robust options are missing, along with the safeguarding not only of students and adults and institutions, but anybody using hashtags or any mode of interaction. And the first thing people send to throw away is an email address. The second is probably hashtags. And third, even using YouTube. So now, of course, years ago, YouTube did learn that in terms of comment sections, they'd better not let people comment with with a with a video. However, despite some serious problems at Facebook, they're coming out on top. They still allow comments in terms of video, things that YouTube had to forego because they're a much larger operation with many more problems. Um, I think now that things have become more systemized, YouTube could reintroduce comment sections that could have video comments, perhaps maybe on an optional basis. I normally don't allow any comments to anything I put on YouTube. No comments at all. But then I have my YouTube, my email address there, and I plan to leave it there. Others think differently, and so I myself I'm withdrawing more and more from the internet. It's a system that seems to reward a top-down attitude rather than anything else, and I think the results are obvious. And it's also a system that does not need to behave as one normally would with a security wall for students. You know, from the first grade on up to high school, that says, you know, here's your firewall, and here are the premium things that we're able to do for you there. You know, I did find out because I had, you know, the opportunity. I found out that my own school, which is now co-ed and larger than it was when I was there, I went to a school in Georgia. They have a fantastic community behind the paywall, and then they also have a public sector, and the students are obviously free to use their tablets or their PCs or their phones as they damn well please. But I don't think that's going to remain true because we have this odd thing of, you know, the so-called predator catchers. They're people who basically mimic the worst behavior as if to catch others, when in fact they're not catching anything. They're vigilantes and perverts who have their own agenda, and whether they have a badge of honor, of experience, or anything else. Well, fortunately, those don't get to do what they're doing everywhere else. They don't get to do that behind a Wi-Fi system run by schools or private companies or anything else. But I know some people who know full well that the best and most rigorous systems are easy and done practically automatically because of software that the big ones have. You know, the big ones like Facebook, YouTube, and probably soon TikTok, although I'm not interested until they get a green light from Trump, who said, maybe or maybe not, I'm not satisfied with that. That's the same attitude as the punk that he carouses with. You know, I don't see an excuse for what's happened to X.com. It has descended into the squalor that people know about. I used to ignore it until I couldn't ignore it any longer. I hope that doesn't happen to TikTok. I think there's so much scrutiny that they will probably have the same software that Facebook has, and that YouTube has, that doesn't need crackpots running around like vigilantes, or criminals running around like uh, vigilantes. You know, it's true that TikTok. I mean, it's true that X.com is not the only platform that doesn't make money, but that's not because of some sort of martyrdom. But this business. One of the biggest martyrs now is is ownership of you know Tesla and X.com. But what technology has been dumped and deployed coast to coast and around the world is this Tesla business, and of course a lot of it is sort of grandfathered in. Tesla doesn't need the $2.5 billion annual subsidy that it had at one time, but it gets that subsidy anyway. So they're not interested in improvement when they're grandfathered in with what they've already been doing. It's not quite the same with digital stuff, and fortunately, I guess maybe it's true that people care more about their kids than brats who are buying stupid products rolling around on the crust of the earth. Well, I'm grumbling. Yeah, I'm grumbling, but that's all right because the few emails I send are familiar to a few, obviously. And as for the other options, uh, well, what can I say? I'm not really very interested. There's a residual interest, but it's not the same. And as for what happened in Alaska, and then what happened with X.com, and then what happened, in the ER here in Alex City, I have to just say, you're kind of obvious, aren't you? Well, I know I am, and so this is kind of I don't know, just a gentle reminder that, well, yeah, I'm going to walk away from as much trouble as I can, and uh, of course, some say good riddance before I've done that, but I'll be doing more of that for obvious reasons. So that matches up with what I've seen, dozens and dozens who have walked away from the security of Google's mail system, and the same system that is applied uh, to other systems like Hotmail and Yahoo and some others. It's just a shame, you know. People are shameless, I think. I've noticed that. So I'm sad, but I'm not terribly affected. I cringe, though. Obviously, I don't deserve being black and blue for any reason. And the Russell Hospital, well, old man Russell's twirling in his grave. I knew him. He was a nice man, um, but that's ancient history. And I've been destitute long enough not to care very much about the promises that the promises that people make. And as they walk away from the technology that they've had, uh, and then the alternative that I experience means that I'll probably do something that is predictmost of the time.